news,
Lobbyists are fed up with politicians accepting their money and then not coming through.
opinion,
When the automated police force orders you inside, that's just them doing their job.
remix.
Even lost my job partially due to the whole global warming issue. Increase in oil prices. This guy's scared.
This is Top Story with Kelly Klass and Jill Skeen,
I've been a listener for about 20 years.
I'm talking to you makes me feel better.
where the news meets your opinion. Pick up the phone and talk about it. 736-0300. That's 736-0300. Now, here's the hosts of Top Story, Kelly Klass and Jill Skeen.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
All right, there you go. There you go. You didn't even have to ask me this time.
You know what? I don't even know if it's Wednesday. Seriously. Yesterday I thought
What?
it was Wednesday. I'm just.
Well, I did
swear.
that for your benefit so you would know it was
Thank
Wednesday.
you, because yesterday I was a little confused, and today I have to say I'm
Jill,
really
you're
tired. It's
always
catching.
confused.
Oh, stop! It's catching up to me, Cal. We went to the international dance thing at CSI last night, which was really
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
But you know, I'm running the candle on both ends here. Yesterday I was up
Yeah.
at 4. Yeah, I'm like, it's catching up.
You know,
It's catching up, people.
And by the way, welcome to Top Story, 7360300. When we were younger,
What?
we could do that. We could burn the candle at both ends and have plenty of energy to get through the week.
Well, I would usually then hit the wall eventually. I mean, you know, it's like I'm starting to hit the wall. That's it.
Well, as we get young...
We're getting younger. Are we not on?
No, we weren't on. Okay, sorry. Let's start this all over again, shall we?
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Okay, there we go. Now we're off to a good start.
Well, I'm glad you
didn't-
reminded me. I'm glad you reminded me it was Wednesday. Who didn't hit that button, Kelly Klass?
I don't know.
I
I'm gonna have
don't
to
either.
talk to the engineer.
Must have been a little goblin that came in here and turned
This-
the button off.
This happens every once in a while. I just see on my cell phone I was getting a call from one of our, well, Penny Main was calling.
Thank
Probably
you,
to tell
Penny.
us, I can't hear you.
Nothing like dead air on radio, is
Okay,
it?
I know. Sorry, it's embarrassing. I do that every once in a while.
But you know
It's
what? We
just-
love you anyway, Kelly. You're just getting older. What were
I
you
know.
saying about us getting older?
I know, it's that old timer's disease.
It
you
is,
know. But
I'm
anyway,
telling you.
So I played the hump day for you so you would know it was Wednesday.
Thank you. Now I know it's Wednesday.
And you're looking a little bedraggled.
I'm
this
I'm
morning.
hitting the wall, Kelly Klass. I'm
sorry.
running the candle on both ends, and now I'm hitting the wall. We went to, not only was I up at 4 yesterday for the Rise and Shine thing and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
My mom's here, and you want to make sure they have a good time. Then we went to the international dance because Tom got those tickets from his dad and stepmom for
Oh, yeah.
his birthday, and it was awesome. Honestly, it was nice, but you start to you're getting
Well,
a little tired. I'm getting a little tired here.
When we were younger, we could burn the candle at both ends, and we'd be fine.
Well, it
But-
eventually catch. It would, Tom makes fun of me. He calls me the hare. I call him a turtle. Like I'll just flat out go for how long and then I hit the wall. And he's just steady Eddie,
Yeah.
Never hits the wall. And I think I've always been like that. I just go and then I drop.
Yeah.
I'm like starting to drop.
So
Wake me up when the show's over.
coming up, we have Ashley Houle and one of the race drivers in from the races this weekend at Magic Valley Speedway.
Yes.
It's our understanding that Greg Lanting may be coming in from the Twin Falls City Council for State of the City today.
That is our understanding.
And we have this huge thing going on at our southern border. And there are so many angles to this story. One of them is, of course, the children coming across the border being sent up from their parents, apparently from Central America, trying to get them away from the war and the gangs and all this. We have others who are taking advantage of this to gain entry into the United States. You have some towns in America that are welcoming them with open arms. You have others that are protesting. It really is an interesting situation going on. And there are several stories that I have here of kind of taking you on the scene, getting kind of down low and personal, talking to some of these people who are coming across, and it is a maddening, but it is a heart-wrenching situation
awful.
that's going on.
Yeah.
For many of them, you feel sorry for them. You want to help them. For many of them, you just want them to get the hell out. It's kind of a mixture because not all of them are little 4-year-old children coming over here looking for help. I mean, many of them are gangs and
I don't see where many
and,
are gangs and criminals. I haven't seen that reported anywhere other than you and a couple callers.
I have seen plenty of reports on here that is happening, but the most of the media, they're focusing on the poor little 4-year-old children that are clinging to their mommy's legs. I know there are a lot of them, but they're not all that.
No, but what
there are problems coming across the border as well.
But I don't understand these people screaming at them and saying these awful things to them. Let them process. Let them go through what's happening. Some of these people are probably going to be refugees. And, I think it's absolutely, actually, I'm ashamed seeing some of the video clip of people screaming what they screamed at them is embarrassing. Did Jesus break the law? It's like, oh my gosh, have some compassion. It's not, they're just coming over here for the heck of it. They're in danger. They're turning themselves over to the border agents. My God, they want help. But really, I'm embarrassed by some of the scenes and what people are screaming at. These are kids, don't understand the language. They've just gone through a harrowing trip, and then you have people screaming horrible things at you. They don't even understand. They don't understand what's happening. They think this is the greatest country on earth, which it is. So I don't know. I'm embarrassed. Frankly, I am.
Well,
I'm shameful.
We have a couple of stories about that. We're going to kind of get in depth about that and just kind of take you on a step-by-step basis of what's going on. So it should be interesting coming up. Meanwhile, what happened with your pet psychic?
Well, no, my appointment was going to be today at 2, but it got delayed till Saturday because she's in the process of moving, and the internet.
These darn psychics, I'll tell you.
Oh yeah, they're horrible. They actually move. They're people, but she didn't get her internet fixed up, and I have to send her pictures and my questions, in advance,
all right,
as to what Lizzie and Gracie look like and the questions I have for them. So Saturday at 2, I'll be talking, and I will report back on Monday.
All right. Well, I can't wait. I'm interested to find out how this works.
I can't wait for Gracie's list of demands of things I'm not doing for her.
I have to, and I don't want this to quell your enthusiasm. I'm a little bit skeptical when it comes to stuff like that.
You?
Really, yeah, I know. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Let me tell you something.
But,
that's how I got my cats. I told you that story. I went to that psychic, and she told me in 2 weeks or 2 months. This was 2 weeks after my other cat I put down. I just put my money down, didn't say a word to this woman. She said, in 2 weeks or 2 months, you're going to find out about a litter of kittens. Take the different one. And I thought, that is so weird. I was living in Boston at the time.
Wow.
I'm like, where would I find out about a litter of kittens? And who refers to a cat as different? Have you ever referred to a cat as different?
No, all
fine.
cats are different.
So I fly to Dallas. It's 14 days later. 18 days later. But my sister picked me up at the airport, and she said that Saturday, which was 2 weeks to the day I went to that psychic.
Oh wow.
She said to me in the car, "I hope you're not mad at me." And I said, "Why?" She goes, "Well, this weekend I went up to the feed store. There was a litter of kittens." I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "There were 5. 3 were solid. I took the 2 different ones." She had shots and an airplane carrier, and I had them ever since, and that was Lizzie or Gracie. So you can say all you want, but that one freaked me out.
Wow.
Because I didn't tell anyone the story at all, because I was just heartbroken and thought, whatever. Okay, so, I'm a believer. Why not?
Wow.
We'll
talk to you after Friday.
It does pique your interest, doesn't it? That one piques your interest.
7360300 is the number to call. Good morning. You're on Top Story.
Good morning. It doesn't surprise me at all that Jill would support this stuff going down on the border, since her little god Obama is using it to bring this country down.
There's so much in that I can't even respond to, honestly. It's like, you know what? Do you turn your back on people that need help? I mean, I think our country was really based on people who are escaping horrible situations, and there is a law in place that was put into place by George W. Bush to actually have these people go through a hearing, and that's what the situation is. So I think, but to scream at these mothers and kids, and I just think it's awful.
What I want to do with these couple of stories is to get past the get past that part of it and just get down to the human side of it, you know?
Well, it'd be nice. I mean, if that were you, and can you imagine being in such a desperate situation? These people who are somehow gathering up $7,000, whether they're, these guys are taking their homes or whatever, sending their kids without any kind of chaperone through this. That's how desperate these parents are to save their kids. I mean, think about it. Could you imagine letting your kids do that? But you're in such a desperate. I mean, some others are saying, I'd rather them die on their way to the U.S. than here being shot, which is happening all over the place. So, you know what? Let's try to be human about this.
And that's just the parents in Chicago.
Yeah, they're asking for help too. Look what's going on there.
That's the ironic part now. The people a lot of the people in Chicago are upset at the president because he seems to be helping the people at the border more than he is those in their area. Then the homeless in Los Angeles are upset because the mayor there is trying to do stuff to help them coming in, but he won't help the homeless. So right. I don't know. It's really like I say, this thing has all kinds of angles to it. But right. I keep trying to put myself in the position of being a parent living in a country that it was so bad that I would send my 8-year-old child thousands of miles away on their own just to get away from it.
I know. Think how desperate these people are, You want the best for your kids. You want them to live. And
I'm not saying what's going on is right. I'm not saying that the president isn't trying to do his own agenda. I'm just that is aside from this right now. I just want to get down to the human level and kind of put politics aside for a moment.
Is that possible in any situation today?
Probably not.
Where do people put politics aside? It would be lovely if actually people put politics aside. Maybe we'll start as an example, Cal. We'll start right here on Top Story. Let's put politics aside.
Again, not to say that I'm totally in favor of everything that's going on, but because I'm not. But it's interesting sometimes when this stuff is going on to look at it from a human side rather than a political side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, you get down to WWJD, what would Jesus do, and you really have to search your soul sometimes. 7360300, Top Story, you're on the air.
Yes. If everything was legal they was doing with all these immigrants or whatever you want to call them, refugees, why would the president order the people to give them identification?
I don't know. Is that what he's doing?
What do you mean? I mean, I
see
you have to identify the kids.
They're telling, if they're little kids, why are they telling them to give them driver's license and identification if they was going through a legal process?
I don't know how you could get them to have a driver's license if they're coming from...
I don't know.
Guatemala or something.
We're going to get down to the human side of it rather than the political side here in a while, so stay tuned. 7360300 is the number to call. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story, and we are going to be talking racing here shortly. But first, we're going to talk about honey loaders. Low on honey loaders.
Hey, you could race this. This thing goes 7 miles an hour.
That's it, yeah.
See who can load honey faster.
You got it. And I'll tell you, Pat Hartzell can hook you up with one of these on Feedlot or a dairy to see how they work before you plunk down your hard-earned money for one. But if you have a situation where you have a lot of honey flowing around, manure, okay, whatever. Yeah. This might be the one for you. It can load all types of manure from liquid to frozen and dry and load up to 7 miles an hour, almost as fast as I say I can do it with a scoop shovel.
I'm telling you, I think we should have a manual against the machine.
So get a hold of Pat Hartzell at 280-1167, and he can fix you up. That's Pat Hartzell at 280-1167 from Stanley and Company. We have Ashley Houle and Stacey Jensen again with us this morning on Top Story. Good morning, folks.
Good morning.
More races coming up this weekend?
Always, every weekend.
Yeah, that's
Till
right.
when, Ashley?
Till September 13th.
Okay, great. And how's it been going so far?
Good. Our car show last weekend was awesome. It was our first one, as everybody knows, and we had 70 cars turn out for it.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's pretty impressive. I'm sure it's because you were on here.
I know it was because we were on here.
Absolutely.
Everybody was telling me.
So, Stacey Jensen, what's coming up this weekend?
This weekend is a Super 6 and Pepsi V8 Sprint Car Challenge. It's a V6 Sprint Car versus a V8. It's our third challenge race this year, and So far, we're 3-0 against the V8 guys.
Ooh.
We're going to try to make it 4 this weekend.
So who should actually?
There's no competition there.
Who should actually be favored in that? Since I'm not aware at all between the V6 and V8, which one should have been?
This track is going to be an interesting one. I think it's going to be a toss-up, just because the V8 guys can actually get up and open up now, and we're always pretty much where we go with our cars. We're pretty much right there. The V8 guys, they're stuck with not being able to open up all the way. In this track, it allows them to open up all the way. So it's going to be a toss-up this weekend.
See, the V8 guys have 2 more cylinders in their engine than the V6 guys.
But the V6 have been beating them.
Yep.
Only because they haven't been able to open up.
Well, they race at Meridian, too, so it's a little bit smaller track, so it's easier with the horsepower. You can't really get up to where you need to be. But here, we're quite a bit bigger than there and a little bit more banking, it's going to be an interesting race.
So they might smoke you. What are you driving?
I'll be driving my car this weekend. You can't miss it. It's green, 13, bright. It's going to be a fun weekend.
Is that your lucky number, 13?
Yes, it is.
Contrary to everyone else. Even elevators sometimes don't have 13. But you go with 13. Has it been good?
Yes, so far it has. In all the years I've ran it, it has never bit me before. So, knock on wood, that it continues that way.
I'm knocking.
Well, it sounds like you're getting a lot of people out this summer. Do you find that more and more people are coming out all the time, kind of getting that racing bug?
Absolutely. I think the more it goes on, the more new people that we get out there with, we try to get as many new sponsors, and then that way when they get on, you bring out people and
they go, oh, so this is what it's all about. This is
what it's all about.
fun.
And then you bring your family out and friends.
That's it. It's kind of a family thing, isn't it?
Wraps new people in, absolutely.
Because you got sons and dads and granddads out racing, and then you got all their families and their friends and families coming to watch, and it's a big. I know I'm a couple of miles from the raceway, and I can hear the cars even out there during the day that are practicing.
That's even better.
So yeah, that's right. It's free advertising. They hear that noise. Oh yeah, I got to go to the races this weekend.
And Stacey, your dad got you into it, right?
Yes, he did.
I think we've had every driver on here say their dad's gotten them into it.
Yeah, it would be odd. I don't think we've found anybody yet who hasn't gotten in it due to family.
That's kind of fun.
I'll do some research and find some drivers.
Yeah,
I'm sure for next time.
I just said, wow, I thought I'd just race. Whatever. What the heck? I threw a dart. So you got anything special going on at the raceway this
Besides
weekend?
the Super Sixes this weekend, we have the Outlaw Modifieds, Pep Mountain Dew late models, Sherry's Cafe Hornets, Quali Stingers, and then the Penny Gold Rush. So it's first federal night at there. And we dump a bunch of pennies on the track, and all the kids get to come down and pick them up. It's a lot of fun. The kids really enjoy it. I don't know if
pennies.
you like getting...
Why not dollars?
Come on, First Bet.
Right?
What's
First
up?
Bet, what's up with that?
Well, they do if we mark a certain amount of pennies, and if they do get them, then they get the gold dollars.
Oh, fun.
Okay. Well then.
How many do you drop, Ashley? Do you know?
We drop, I think, like $50 to $100 worth of pennies.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
So you go out there with a vacuum cleaner and you get $50 to $100.
Kelly might be interested now. You might be out there now. Metal detector.
Right? Just walk around with it.
Yeah.
Right. So what does it cost to get in this weekend?
This weekend, adults are $10. Children 12 and under are free with an adult. And military is always free with ID.
So when is the penny drop? Did they have to come early? When do races start?
At intermission. So gates open at 4. McDonald's time trials at 6:30. Racing starts at 7. So about 8-ish is when the penny rush will be.
Okay.
So if you get there by 7:30, you'll be doing good.
You'll be good. So do people come out at 4 and kind of just hang out? And
we have people lined up to get in the stands at 3:30.
You're kidding?
Nope, we have our
That's
diehards that
awesome.
come every week, and they're there at 3:30 waiting, and then they'll go in, they'll get their spot, walk around the stands, go talk to the concession workers, and
First to come and last to go, huh?
So Stacey, are you nervous? Do you ever get nervous?
Honestly, not anymore. I just go with the flow.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. We hope you win.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I want to hear
I'm
that.
going for it this weekend.
I want you to smoke them. Smoke them.
I need a booster this year, so.
There you go. All right, Ashley Houle and Stacey Jensen from Magic Valley Speedway. Thanks for coming out today.
Thanks, you guys. Good luck.
This is Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX. 7360300 is always the number to call here on Top Story, and with July being as warm as it has been, a lot of people have been wanting to get up into the hills.
Scorcher.
Although some of the hills have been kind of like on fire, so
literally
lots of fires.
I know,
in
it's
Idaho.
scary again.
Yeah, I got up this morning and looked to the north, and just that bank of smoke from all the fires up at Garden Valley and in that area, and of course the prevailing winds take it to the east.
Oh,
And
we had
so-
some bad winds. Was it yesterday? Yes.
Yeah, well,
But it doesn't help when you got fire, you know?
right, exactly. They're worse when you have fire.
Yeah.
And so anyway, part of Idaho is on fire again. I guess just kind of the way it goes. But at any rate, there are still places to go to get away from the fires, get away from the heat, and Bish's RV in Twin Falls can help you with that getaway, because all during this month of July, their entire inventory of Starcraft and Dutchman travel trailers is on sale. Plus, you buy one, you get $1,000 in parts and accessories with your new travel trailer purchase. And that's going all through July. And they're at the Curry Crossing. They have 4 stores in Idaho. So they are Idaho's largest RV dealer. 4 stores in Idaho. One of them happens to be at the Curry Crossing between Twin Falls and Filer. So if you're looking for an RV, that's your one-stop RV shop, Bish's RV, and you can tell them that Kelly and Jill sent you. As I mentioned before, I have a couple of interesting stories here, and I don't always like to just get on here and just read. So because that can sometimes be boring. But these stories are very compelling, and they kind of give you an idea of what is going on our southern border right now. So politics aside, just listen to this. And you don't even have to make any conclusions. It's just interesting, I think. From McAllen, Texas, life jackets of all sizes and the occasional punctured raft are strewn along the banks of the Rio Grande, south of Mission, Texas, where a relentless onslaught of illegal immigrants eagerly surrender to beleaguered Border Patrol agents around the clock. It is a cycle for which there is no end in sight. You're going to be out here a long time, Fernando, an El Salvadoran child, told FoxNews.com shortly after surrendering to Border Patrol authorities after midnight Saturday. He said, "There are thousands of us." With most of the men and women charged with securing the Mexican border busy processing some of the 60,000 illegal immigrants who have made the harrowing and sometimes deadly journey to the American border in the past 9 months, only a handful of Border Patrol agents actually now drive the Riverside Loop in a small town called Grañeno, just south of Mission in the Rincon Peninsula. Illegal immigrants of all ages, including many unoccupied children, run to them to surrender. They are piled into the back of Border Patrol vehicles and taken to a makeshift staging area in Rincon Village, where a large Border Patrol bus waits to transport them to McAllen's Border Patrol facility. Fox News accompanied Texas lawmaker Louis Gohmert, a former judge and current Republican congressman, to the site in the pre-dawn hours of Saturday. Gohmert, whose district lies some 550 miles northeast of what has become the most heavily trafficked people smuggling route in the world, has been to the location many times but has never seen it so understaffed and overwhelmed. He said he was concerned that more concerned than ever that the border is so seriously undermanned, and he's going to be raising hell in Washington, he says. The Border Patrol agents loaded and unloaded their vehicles packed with the newly arrived illegal immigrants, including women pregnant or nursing infants and small unaccompanied children, throughout the evening and early morning hours. At first, they were mostly teenagers, 14 to 17, arriving with their mother or brothers or no one at all. Then came the pregnant women, a mother nursing her infant, a small girl with wide eyes clutching a doll. A total of 72 came in during the first dark hours of Saturday morning. A third were unaccompanied children. The life jackets helped many make it across the Rio Grande from Reynosa, the Mexican city across the water from Mission, just west of McAllen. Sources say they came over on rafts ferried by the so-called coyotes, the human smugglers whose means of transport are rendered useless whenever discovered by the Border Patrol. Many don't make it across the river. Multiple sources become emotional when recounting their discoveries of small, lifeless bodies washed up along the riverbank. Tens of thousands of illegal immigrants have flocked to the U.S. in recent months, believing the DREAM Act, as well as a 2008 law that grants an asylum hearing to any child not from a border nation, and the White House policy known as prosecutorial discretion means once they arrive, they'll never have to go back. The Obama administration has said many will be returned to their homelands, but thousands have been dispersed around the country, sent to military bases or one of the nearly 100 health and human services shelters run by private contractors or faith-based organizations. From there, they are typically turned over to a parent or relative already in the U.S. or released to a sponsor organization and given a court date for their hearing. And we'll be back with more here on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. We're going to continue our story on the plight of the illegals coming over on the southern border here in just a moment. This is not a political discussion. This is just telling it like it is. Yeah. And you can draw your own conclusion and decide whatever, but this is what's happening. And anyway, before we get back to it, Jill's going to tell us how to rent a mailbox.
That's right, because I was telling you, we actually had a package taken from our porch we just found out.
Yeah.
When we were gone, our neighbor said, there was a package there, and she was collecting her mail. When she went back, it was gone. And so when we asked the post lady, and she said a sub was filling in and that she did leave a package, and we never got it. So now I'm like, I might rent a mailbox at the UPS store.
There you go.
If you're worried about the security of your mail, which I now am, or if you're moving, or if you have a home business without a retail location, go to the UPS store in the corner of Blue Lakes and Addison. Tell them that Jill or Kelly sent you, and you'll receive 1, 2, or 3 additional months free. And those months depend on the length of the lease that you decide to take out. But the key here is you have to tell them that Jill or Kelly sent you in order to get those months free. Otherwise, you're leaving money on the table. While you're there, you can print, you can ship, you can package, you can laminate. You can easily design or upload your projects from any place, anytime. You know how you're at home designing some flyer or whatever, you want it printed out. Email it to the UPS store. They'll print it out for you. No problem. No drop-off fees for prepaid packages or mail, and you can buy a cute little animal card for anyone that you love. Corner of Blue Lakes and Addison. Tell Charles and the crew that Jill and Kelly sent you.
All right, very good. By the way, too, we'll have Greg Lanting from Twin Falls City Council coming in at 9 o'clock with the state of the city, so stay tuned for that. We got a caller. Top Story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. This is a heartbreaking deal down there on the border. It really is with them kids. But until they cross the border into the United States, I consider Mexico's problem. And once they cross the border, then they are our problem. And because of what George Bush did, signing that law, we have to take care of it. But here's my feeling on it. If they keep coming like they are, we cannot afford to pay for these people.
I agree.
So my opinion of it is this. We look Senor Mexico in the eye and say, no more aid. It's over. Guatemala, all them countries down there that people are coming from, they keep coming. We're cutting off aid. Now, I don't mean just a little bit. I'm talking 100%. Because somehow, it's just like in my budget. I want to do something, I've got to figure out a way to come up with the money. If we're going to take care of these people, we have to figure out a way to come up with the money. Yeah. And I figure like this, the countries that are letting them come through or sending them, they can pay the bill.
I don't disagree. I don't. I know this is this is quite a deal, and many of us have not ever seen it like this in our lifetime, and I'm going to just continue with the story here. Many of the illegal immigrants tell Border Patrol and Texas state authorities they learned from the media in their home countries. From the media in their home countries, if they crossed the border to the U.S. right now, they'd be given papers and allowed to stay. Border sources who interviewed the immigrants told Fox News. The number of illegal immigrants apprehended at the border in the past 9 months is more than double last year's total. Most come from Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala, traveling up through Mexico to the border aboard an infamous train known as the Beast.
And they ride on top. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah. I've seen a lot of documentaries on that very thing.
Yeah.
From there, coyotes help them traverse the hard-scrabble Rio Grande Valley and the Serpentine River that winds through it. In May, 5,366 illegal immigrants were detained in the Rio Grande Valley sector. Last month, that number skyrocketed to 30,380, according to law enforcement documents. Fox News witnessed the seemingly endless parade of illegal immigrants as they turned themselves into agents and climbed into the vans. One mother teared up when telling Fox News of her family's perilous journey from Honduras. Some said the trip took as little as 2 days. Others said they'd been traveling for months. In groups of 12 or more, they were then taken to the bus set up in a desolate area at the intersection of unlit dirt roads in Recon Village along the river for initial processing under the full Texas summer moon. They just keep on coming, one Border Patrol source said. The same source noted that last week's derailment of the Beast had temporarily stemmed the tide. Now that it's up and running again, U.S. authorities here at the border are racing for even higher numbers. Agents normally accustomed to working in the field waited at the bus, donning blue latex gloves as they examined the incoming illegal immigrants. They asked questions, searched belongings for contraband and tried to determine if the immigrants needed medical help. Most of the illegal immigrants appeared to be in clean clothes and good health. The biggest complaint Fox News heard was from a child who had lost a shoe in transit. All looked very happy to have finally arrived on U.S. soil. But appearances are deceiving, one border source said. Many of them have scabies, lice, and sometimes serious infectious diseases that have not manifested themselves yet. From the staging area, the illegal immigrants were taken to the McAllen Border Patrol headquarters, a short ride away. Though it is technically a processing center, the sheer size of the current influx has rendered it something more akin to a detention facility. By Saturday morning, it held 480 immigrants, about 100 more than its capacity. A few weeks ago, it held 1,200, Gomert and Border Patrol sources told Fox News. A warehouse nearby with an 1,100 planned capacity was supposed to open its doors July 11, but a botched contract for air conditioners postponed the opening. With the facility crammed beyond its capacity, the undocumented immigrants are being bused and flown to several other processing facilities along the 2,000-mile border in El Paso and in California, where angry residents of Murrieta, a small city just north of San Diego, have turned away hundreds of illegal immigrants brought by the federal government for processing. The veteran Border Patrol agents know that with their attention diverted to women and children, the border at times in locations such as along the Recon Peninsula appeared virtually unprotected from dangerous drug and weapons traffickers with motives far less innocent than finding a better life. During the first 90 minutes Fox News spent with Gomert, no Border Patrol agent, Texas Department of Public Safety officer, or any other member of law enforcement was visible. They weren't the only ones watching for them. A lookout perched atop a tall structure resembling a water tower located near the road quickly jumped off and ran toward the river after spotting our car coming down the dirt path. Border sources noted illegal immigrants typically run to cars to surrender. Only those involved with cartels or gangs are likely to flee. The cartels or coyotes or other criminal organizations have networks of people, often juveniles, paid to stand watch from points of high elevation on both sides of the border. Early Saturday, whistles and signal calls echoed in the night from across the river and in our midst, the clandestine communication of coyotes and cartel members using the border crisis to profit. As we moved on by foot or by car through the thick brush toward the river or down the rocky path, we heard them all around us, moving with us, at some points frighteningly nearby. When a Border Patrol official finally approached our group, he told Gomert there were only 3 Border Patrol agents assigned to this large swath of border. They know it is a busy route, but they were so busy with processing the steady flow of children and families that the area appeared largely unpatrolled. A recent law enforcement bulletin put the crisis in the Rio Grande Valley sector in the flat language of bureaucrats. Total apprehensions in the RGV sector are at historically elevated levels and include greater numbers of other than Mexicans and unaccompanied alien children than any other sector along the U.S.-Mexico border, read the bulletin obtained by Fox News. Total apprehensions are now highest in the RGV sector, which represents a noteworthy change from previous years. On the ground, border agents explain the situation in more conversational terms. There's been a dramatic, serious uptick beginning in January, one border source told Fox News. We've never seen this before. Unaccompanied alien children and big groups of families. And in a twist, the cat-and-mouse game Border Patrol agents have played with illegal immigrants for decades has changed as their quarry no longer hides. We used to chase after them. Now they are chasing us, one official said.
Right.
From FoxNews.com. Israel Cardoza and Kay Cruz wrote that report. And when I read that, I thought, wow, this is an interesting take on the way things are actually happening there on the ground. And there's no way you can have the conversation, I guess, without getting political. And sometimes you just have to put that aside and just go right down to the human element and just actually see what's happening. If you consider human beings on this earth as all part of one humankind, I mean, you have to, if you can read this stuff and hear about it and watch it on TV and on videos and stuff, and not have a little bit of compassion,
I know.
Then you have to be dead.
I know. And yet,
not everybody is innocent in this deal. I realize that. Not everybody. There are people now profiting from this, as there always have been. There are some people making. They said that the coyotes who ferry these people up here are making as high as $50,000 a week.
And they're charging these poor people. And you wonder, how do they gather this money? What are they doing? Some of them are giving them their houses, whatever. Think how desperate you must be as a parent to let your kids off by yourself. Your grandkids, could you imagine?
No, I can't.
Could you imagine? But you know that the life where you are, is far worse. And that's why they need a hearing to determine what is going on here. You don't just send them all back.
The disturbing
part, are going back to situations that are just horrendous.
All we are hearing right now is what is happening at the border, and I don't know what is happening as far as, through political avenues as to what is happening to curb it. I know that they have told the president of Mexico. The president of Mexico said he is doing what he can to curb this influx of people from the Central American countries across Mexico. But what disturbed me was the fact that they said that in Central America, the media is reporting, if you can get to America, you've got her made. You can just get in, and they're welcoming you, and they'll give you whatever you need.
Well,
so
it's
why
really
wouldn't
the coyotes are doing it as well.
Well, the coyotes are doing, but it's being reported that way in the Central American media.
Well,
the newspaper and television and radio and all that stuff, they're telling people to come on up here. Now, I don't know if we've got anybody in our government. I know Vice President Joe Biden has gone down there for whatever good he is. But I don't know if they've got...
He is our vice president to actually try to quell some of these rumors that's happening. That this is not our policy.
I don't know if he is.
That is what he's doing. He and a few other people went down there. I can't remember the contingent, but they went down there to stop some of these rumors, because if that's what's floating around, yes, you have to stop that information and say that's not what's happening. Kids are dying on the way. How awful is that? But you have to do something, and I don't think you just wrap them up and put them back.
If they really wanted to help stop it, they said that when that train broke down, that stemmed the tide for a while. So, why doesn't he just declare an emergency in Mexico and say, we're going to stop this train for a while and to curb
they won't find other routes?
If he was really, well, I'm sure they will, but why just help them along? And most of the people right now are taking that train. So stop the train if you're serious about it.
Why don't you also in Congress do something where they can get more immigration judges down there to go through these hearings faster? I mean, right now that's the law. You have to abide by it. So let's pass the bill that President Obama wants. But there are measures that
can be taken in the meantime, and they don't seem. I'm talking about the other countries.
I understand
that,
but
the other countries help us out with this if they're serious about it.
I understand that.
But I don't think they are.
But what are we doing to stop it instead of just doing, complaining about it? Get some judges, process these kids fast, or do something. You can't just say, the train breaks down. They're going to get here anyway. Deal with the problem once it's in our borders. You've got to deal with it. And they're just, okay, we have a problem, and they're not going to pass anything.
But shutting the train down will help, because they said themselves when it derailed that stemmed the tide for a while.
Fine, but what is Congress doing about the problem? Pass the emergency bill to get more judges on there, get more border agents, get some help. You've got to house these kids somewhere.
But there are other things besides that, like telling
Mexico.
But
we're not doing that. Why aren't we doing that? Congress is just complaining, but they're not doing a thing about it.
We shouldn't have to, frankly.
We have to.
It's those people from the other countries who are coming up here.
We have how many thousand in our country?
Say, look, you can't do this.
Fine, but what are you doing with the ones that are here? Deal with that situation.
We'll deal with them,
but we're
we've
not
got
dealing
thousands.
with it.
We are dealing
no,
with
we
it,
aren't.
as a matter of fact.
We aren't.
What are we doing? We're not turning them back.
We don't have the resources. Pass the bill to get more judges to do the hearings.
Maybe we're not dealing with it well, but we are dealing with it. They need to shut off the spigot at the faucet instead at the end of the hose.
Let's just complain about that.
We've got the state of the city coming up next. We are back. 7360300 is always the number to call, and welcome back, Jill.
Thanks, Cal.
And we are happy to welcome Greg Lanting from the Twin Falls City Council for State of the City. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning. Welcome back.
Always fun to come in.
Yeah. Sometime we'll have to have you come in and you can tell us about your trip to Europe.
Yep, that was pretty good. Prague and Paris, and it was pretty fun to get My next one's New York City here in a few weeks.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah, so
That's a
I've
trip for
got
you.
a cousin who lives there, and she actually comes here for the summer. So I thought, hey, just use her place for a week.
Darn right.
Nothing like New York
Heck
in the hot summer, Greg.
Just trade places. She can stay in your place. You can stay at hers.
She actually comes out and stays on the family farm. So for the summer with her daughters. So I thought, well, she offered it, and I jumped on it.
No, I don't blame
got
you.
my Yankee tickets already and things. So.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Who are they playing?
Detroit, the game I'm there.
Are you a Yankee fan?
I'm a huge Yankee fan.
You've got to be kidding me.
Since I was a little kid, Mickey Mantle.
How did that happen? My
Mickey-
gosh. It's
Mickey
only the
Mantle
ones who
was-
live in New York are the Yankees fans. Everyone else can't stand Yankees outside of New York.
You go to a Rockies game when they have the interleague going and the Yankees are playing the Rockies, and there'll be 20,000 Yankee fans in the stadium. There's a lot of people in Colorado that have moved from New York to Western states. So
wow,
yeah,
that's interesting.
Well, I'm a Red Sox fan,
I was at
so
a game that had like
there's
an
no
hour
way.
and a half lightning delay there one time, and the score was way out of control. It ended up like 20-10, the Yankees winning. By the end of the game, there was like 20,000 of us right around the home plate doing Yankee chants, and all the Colorado fans that went home. So,
I don't blame them.
When you talk about Mickey Mantle, I know because his baseball cards now are bringing very high amounts, and they're hard to find any in really good condition. But I know as I was a kid that several of those passed through my hands.
Oh yeah, myself as well.
I used to take them and hook them to the spokes in my bicycle with a laundry pin in order to make it sound like
Kelly
a
was
motorcycle.
a huge baseball fan.
Yeah, that was our first motorcycles, right?
Absolutely, yeah, I agree. All right, so back to the business of the city. All right, so you're working hot and heavy on the budget now. How's that coming along?
We started Travis starts it earlier. Travis Rothwell, our city manager, starts it earlier than we used to, and then we kind of turn each night into a public hearing. So if anybody wants to come down and talk to us about the budget, every council meeting, you have the opportunity to state your views and your thoughts. And state of Idaho allows entities to raise their amount that they collect of the property taxes. I'm referring by 3% each year. In this particular budget, only raises them 1.8. I think we're the only city or taxing entity besides CSI that I know of that has what's called as a foregone balance. In other words, it's taxes that we could have collected but we didn't. Mm-hmm. And right now it's up to about 1.4 million, as I think, but that's not just 1.4 million this year. It's 1.4 million every year we haven't collected it.
So, I see.
So cumulatively, it's a large amount, and this will add to it because we're going to take about 1.8 of the 3%. We're a pretty frugal bunch down there, and so
yeah. So, but it's not finalized yet. You're still
right.
got a
We're
ways
still working on it, but that, once the city manager, we never go up from the city manager. We usually go back from the city manager. So
I had a question though, because I was thinking about it. I saw that the YMCA has had huge donations for the pool, and so is that going to affect the city? I don't know if it was the city pool or their inside pool. It sounded like it was going to be a water park, and that's where the city pool is, right? How does that affect our budget if they got? I think it's over $600,000 they got in grants and donations. Right. How does that affect the budget for the city? Is it going to help us?
Actually, that's a good question. I need
to
Greg. Look into because they're actually proposing an increase of their fees.
Well, that's what I was wondering, but I'm like, it's going to be totally redone by the money. I think it was the Donna and Bill Kyle.
Right, Donna and Bill Kyle. Our agreement with them is mostly based on operational costs, though not so much, although there is some.
But when in maintenance, right?
And maintenance as well. So that's a good thought. I really hadn't thought of it in the manner.
Write it down. Find out. There you go.
600,000 was while I was gone, and so I really did drill very deep.
But I was wondering how it would affect. It seems like it would help the city in some sense. If the maintenance is up to date, then there's things that.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Well. You got a list of homework now.
I do.
I'll write it down for you. I'll keep a list.
That is a good question. I really hadn't thought about it, how that will work out. I can ask some questions, and maybe we'll find out Monday night at council. I'll send it. I'll send it on to city staff and let them research it.
Yeah, there you go. See. Jill wants to know.
Right.
Well, I was wondering if other people wanted to know. When I read that, I was like, wow, that should help the city, right?
Sure, I would think. If you got $600,000, you don't have to worry about taking out of the budget.
Yeah.
So now, speaking of that, we got $2.9 million in upgrades at the airport. What'll that entail?
Mostly it's if you've flown out of the airport in the last several years, well, actually since 2002, excuse me, after 9/11, everybody has to go into a holding area now, and TSA had to need to have a lot more personnel and a lot more checking of things, and so it just kind of crunched things. And so now you go into the holding area waiting for your flight. I remember when Allegiance was coming in, I went in there and I was in there for like 2 hours, I swear. And there's no bathroom in there. There's no pop machine. There's no anything. Yeah. And so basically what it's going to do is expand. The holding area will now, in a new area built west of the existing airport, attached, of course, and then TSA will actually move into the holding area now. Then, plus, it's going to make some improvements for the offices for TSA, the airlines, take us back to 3 spots for the airlines, and then also provides them with a baggage handling area they really don't have at this point. And so it'll take the TSA stuff. If you've flown out of there, they're out there in the lobby ruffling through your bags, and bad enough to have them see what you have in there, let alone everybody else walking by and things. So all that is going to be improvement. Almost all of it, well, not almost all but 171,000 of it are being paid for by federal grants and the FAA. About 171,000 will come from the airport reserves, which is money that they've collected over the years for from FAA and baggage fees and airport taxes and those kind of things, and haven't spent them, so they build up a little war chest they could use towards something like this, and that's what they're choosing to use it for. So I
know my experience with the airport. I mean, my experience anyway, goes way back to my college. Yeah, I do. I'm out there once, maybe twice a week. We've always been trying to, get more airlines to come in, and it just seems like we're going the opposite direction. And when I saw the $2.9 million for upgrades, I thought, wow, that seems like a lot of money for seemingly no more business than we seem to get out there. Am I just not seeing it?
Well, we've gone from 3 flights now to 2.
Right.
And it has, and you've heard that it's affected the restaurant and things like that because they're now odd times.
Yeah.
And so you have to wonder, we're going down. Why would you invest that much?
Well, part of the, I'm not sure this is exactly the philosophy, but the part of it is if you build it, they will come. If you don't have facilities for an additional airline and baggage facilities and everything else, they're not going to come. There's no place for them to be. Plus the fact that we get a lot of diversions in, and from Sun Valley and Salt Lake and Boise and different things. As often our airport's open when everybody else is fogged in, and
it's because the wind blows it away.
Right, that's probably true. But our airport manager, Bill Carberry, talked about the fact that it's very important to keep what we have, the fact that we have a presence in this airport that they feel comfortable with, like our SkyWest connection. Plus now the diversions, because there's always a problem with the diversions come in to let them off the plane, because then they have to all be rechecked back through. Yeah. Now if we have a holding area large enough to make it work, they can actually let the people off, and they'll just be in the holding area while they're waiting for the other airports to clear, and then they can put them back on the plane. My hope is that I'm not explaining this very well. I'll be the first one to admit it, but my hope is that we can eventually bring in somebody that heads west, whatever that may entail. And Sun Valley has also got some extra flights.
Right.
Airlines are looking around at this point right now, and if we could get something that headed west to either to Boise or to Portland or to Seattle or something along that line, I think that would really enhance our service right now.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day when I was a kid growing up, we had daily flights to Boise, and it just kind of made that circle, Boise to Billings, to Idaho Falls, Pocatello, Burley, and all those in there.
Yeah,
so.
I've the Horizon. Remember they had that little tiny metro liner that they used to fly to Boise. I remember I got on it one time at 6:10 in the morning, and I was the only passenger on the flight. And so they made me sit in the middle and the back for balance purposes.
Right, exactly.
They used to haul quite a bit of freight on that plane. There wasn't so much passengers that kept that flight alive, but it was fish from Clear Springs and things like that they hauled to Boise and then got onto a bigger plane headed somewhere else. We do have we always have interest from other entities looking at our airport for. Besides the huge BLM presence, but we were in conversations right now with FedEx to maybe put a facility out there, and of course Reeder has a large presence out there and things like that. So there is a lot of things going on at the airport that aren't necessarily passenger related, but we would certainly like to get another airline in if we could, and that is our focus without a doubt, is to try to get something heading west. I know Chris Talkington That's his dream. I'll guarantee you. He talks about it a lot. So,
well, maybe someday. Huh?
Right, someday.
Yeah. We've been talking a lot about the illegal kids coming across not just kids, but the situation we have on the southern border. A lot of towns are just kind of unexpectedly now getting shipments, bus loads, plane loads of illegal immigrants. And I was just thinking kind of out loud here a while ago, what would happen if they came to Twin Falls? Would we be able to handle something like that, and with the reported diseases that they have and such? And what would we do? Well, what would be the process?
You start going through your minds, where can we handle it? Obviously, we have a first-class medical facility, and the diseases and things, we could utilize that. I think we could probably handle a busload or whatever the case may be of those children until they're processed and deciding what to do with them. The protesters would be the issue. I mean, we're a lean organization, like I talked from the budget. And we have a police force that's very, very lean, and we try to keep it. We're trying to keep up with the growth of the city with our police force. But that's the part I would worry about. The protesters would probably be the thing. It's kind of like Haley canceling some of their plans just because they didn't want the protesters showing up. They knew they couldn't handle that part.
For the Bo Bergdahl issue, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the death threats, yeah.
So that I think we could handle the refugees, and with the pretty good sized immigration presence here, and there's also our hospitals, and we have the refugee center at CSI. I think we can handle that part, but whether you can handle the several thousand protesters,
well, I would hope we wouldn't have them. I hope the people of Twin would be more welcoming and kind to people that are in need. I really am shocked by those protests. I really am. I just think it's horrible.
I'm not sure I'm not drilled down to that subject because it's really not a city issue, it's a national issue, and so I would think, but
it's becoming city issues in some areas where they are shipping them. But anyway, we're out of time, Greg. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We spent too much on the Yankees. Sorry, buddy. Go
Red
Sox.
Sometimes you just have to do that. All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye,
this is
Greg.
Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Yesterday's $100 instant winning name is...
I'm ready.
Bonnie Nichols.
Bonnie Nichols, congratulations.
And your $100 word of the day for today is call.
Call.
Just pick up the phone and call me.
Which you never do.
That wasn't Bridget Bardot. That was, who was that? I
No.
forgot who that was. Anyway.
Oh, for gosh sake.
You have until midnight tonight to go to our website at newsradio1310.com. Click on Word of the Day, type in call, and then listen tomorrow. And if you hear your name tomorrow and you played the word today, you win $100.
And you said you'd rather text than call.
I would.
And I know when I call you, you do answer because then you know that there's something important because I'm driving or something I can't text.
Okay, as long as we're on that subject.
Yeah.
There are some people who... I don't really enjoy long conversations on the telephone. I guess...
You just save it for radio.
It depends on who it is, I guess, But what most people, I kind of like to take care of business and get off, okay? But some people will call and they start talking about this, quick subject, and then, oh, by the way, that gets them onto this other rabbit trail, and then you have to hear about all their experiences there, and then while they're telling that story, that reminds them of another story, and my gosh, my ears are bleeding after 15 minutes on the phone, so you're right. I appreciate texts and emails.
I warned you. Anyone who wants to contact Kelly, a text or an email. He saves his long talking for the show every day.
I do, yeah. Once I'm off the show, I'm done talking for the rest of the day.
2 hours, he used all his words. That's it. You're done.
So there you go. And I don't know if there's anybody else feels the same way. Because I have had some people say, oh, I don't, I will email them or I will text them expecting some sort of an answer. Oh, I don't text or email. I just pick up the phone and call.
Your worst nightmare.
I know that that's the old school, old-fashioned way to do it.
You're old school, buddy.
Unfortunately, it is a time waster.
You are old school.
I am getting older, and I don't have a lot of time left, so I have to, make what time I have left work for me.
Okay, Kelly.
And it's probably not talking.
One day, the show will be all in text form, just for you. Who could write that fast?
Well, on the
they have
what do they
people
call
doing
it?
that.
The subtitles. I don't think they do. I think a lot of the subtitles that you see on TV are voice recognition because some
of them
stuff
are spelled
that
badly. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Terrible.
and some of it is just gibberish. So you know that they're probably using voice recognition. Not all of them, I'm sure, but I don't. Yeah. If they weren't, I don't know how you would keep up typing with that for over a long period of time, especially.
Well,
but
when you have court stenographers,
digress.
they go very fast.
They do, but that's all shorthand stuff.
But maybe that's what they're doing there.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe
you know
so.
what I mean?
Maybe,
you couldn't
but
possibly.
I'm thinking most of it is voice recognition.
Well, I
just
don't
by looking
know.
At some
we'll have to look that up.
Anyway, I do know that because we haven't really talked about a lot of the news going on. Okay, we got a caller. Let's go ahead and take the caller. See how they feel about phone calls. Top story, you're on the air.
And by the way, they're calling.
I was wondering if I could touch on that on the thing on those children that are coming over the border.
Sure. Go ahead.
What I was going to mention is that those kids are turning themselves in the border, but people just keep calling in and saying they're coming in illegally. I know people that work down there on the border, and they're turning themselves in at the border.
Yeah.
They're not coming in illegally, but these people keep calling in. But I wanted to say something else. I want to thank you guys for your compassion this morning on that, Kelly and Jill, because you guys are the compassion part of it for both of you. The kids.
Yeah.
And that's really nice to hear that for you guys. I love your show.
Bye. Well, thank you. Thanks for listening.
That. I know some people are surprised.
I just don't know how you can't have compassion.
Some people are surprised that I actually might have a little bit of compassion in me.
They don't realize that you're sort of like
a
big teddy bear. They don't really realize that. Kelly's a big teddy bear.
Well, I have to keep up this image.
Big old teddy bear he is.
7360300. Top story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Kelly, most men feel like you do about talking on the telephone.
I think so, yeah. Obviously, you're the same way, huh?
I'm hard of hearing. But back when I could hear good, I never liked to talk on the telephone. That's a woman thing.
Just another woman thing. I tell you when they do talk to you on the phone is when they're courting you. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Tom and I would be on the phone for hours because I was in Philadelphia and he was here. And now all of a sudden he's like, I don't like to talk long on the phone. I'm like, let's back it up a little bit here, buddy. You used to spend hours on the phone with me talking. Oh, yeah, trying to sell yourself. Men are trying to sell themselves like they're a good mate.
Hey, once you get
then you get married, it's like, I don't talk on the phone.
Signed, you move on to other things.
What phone? I don't talk on the phone. Come on. You guys, you know it. You'll put it out when you have to try to look good, and then I don't talk on the phone.
Women are kind of the same way there, Jill.
Women like to talk. They think, oh, wow, I got a guy who likes to talk. How lovely. False advertising.
That's odd because usually women want a guy who will just listen. They don't want anybody who will talk. I want you to just listen. I don't want you to solve my problems. Just listen to me talk.
Women want you to be their best friends, and they want you to tell you everything, and you guys just go, wah, wah, wah. That's how you hear it. Wah, wah, wah.
7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. I was going to tell you that the folks at Far More of Idaho need you to give them a call. They need to talk to you about infrared barren. Now, you drive around the area and you see a lot of sprinkler irrigation systems now. And you really have no idea how. You may think that everything's getting watered great, the crops are good, everything's green, everything just looks lovely. But you might be surprised if you were to do an overflight of your field and take some pictures with infrared photography and then take a look at them. You might be surprised at what areas you would see that are not getting as much water, or maybe some areas getting more water than they need. They can figure this out with infrared photography, and they can do that at Far More of Idaho. Give them a call. And you may think, I'm not going to pay for that extra expense. It's just one more thing. Somebody wants me to pay for some gimmick. Well, this one doesn't cost. It pays. Because don't you want your fields producing every possible amount that they can? And when you're dispersing the water, that's an important deal. So give them a call. They can tell you about it at Far More of Idaho, 324-3341, or online at farmoreofidaho.com. We have a caller.
Good.
Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. One thing that I think is a little ironic is how we hear on your radio station and others at least once an hour about the commercial feeding the children, asking the people of America to donate to move food around so that we can feed the children that are struggling with hunger, and yet we want to give how much money to help the border people.
I know.
Another thing is we have, let's stretch it a bit and say we have 1 million people trying to cross the border, and President is asking for how many billions? My head calculator can't figure out how much that is a person.
$30 billion.
A person.
Yeah, $30 billion total.
No, he was asking for 3.9.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was it 3.9
yeah,
billion?
It was 3.9.
Just mere pittance. Is what I thought it was.
Yeah, divide that by 1 million people coming in. That's how much per person?
Yeah, I know. I'd have to.
Well, you also have
how much would that be? What,
I don't
$390,000 per person or something like that.
That's quite a bit.
So what do you think we should be doing?
I don't know. It's really a mess. It's a sad mess. I feel a compassion for things, but I think there must be some way to have people enter this country legally rather than trying to sneak in. If it says have more Border Patrol people, if it has more judges, if it has more people screening the people coming in, then let's do it that way.
Well, they are coming in legally. They're actually going to the border agents and clinging onto them.
Well, then,
I mean, they're not going through a bush getting here. But
the result is still the same, though.
They want help, and we have to produce hearings, and that's the issue.
The result is still the same. But yeah, you know what? This is a mess. It is a mess. And
think about the country. Think about the countries in the Middle East where this is happening. Where the in Jordan it happened with the Syrians and their war. And by the way, Assad was just sworn in for his third term. How lovely. I'm sure they all voted for him. But you know what I mean? When you have a mass exodus of people, that's happening in a lot of those countries in the Middle East. And this is what they're dealing with. And you have these huge camps that they're setting people up in. And we're trying to be more humane about it.
We talked to the gentleman, Mr. Upreti from the CSI Refugee Center, who works there now. He was in a refugee camp
for 17 years.
17 years.
Right.
17 years.
Right.
7360300. Top story. You're on the air.
Yeah, what are we going to do about all the diseases, malaria, smallpox, all these diseases that are coming back into this country? Why don't we send them to Canada?
You know what?
I don't know. You know what?
I can't even deal with what does. I mean, people are saying, "Oh, they have lice." Well, you know what? American kids have lice. People have scabies. You know what? We have medical care in this country. So, you know, we could actually give them some medicine or shots or whatever. They're saying there's diseases that haven't happened yet. Then how do you know the kids have a disease? Oy.
I don't know. It's just a mess. And we're not going to sit here right now. We're not going to solve this. Whatever solution you come up with, it poses other problems. It's a mess. And I think it's because of the last 40 or 50 years, we have kind of lent a blind eye to the border, and people have come in during the Reagan administration. We gave a bunch of them amnesty and said, okay, this is going to be the last time. You know, it's just something that we have refused to deal with over the last several decades, and now it's getting to the point where something's got to give.
Well, and it's not just this. I mean, their countries are run by drug cartels, and they have corrupt governments, and these people are not safe. And, you know, that's what's happening as well. I'm
kind of like the one caller who said, let's stop all the aid to those other countries. If we're going to be taking care of their people, then we'll keep that aid money and use it right here. 7360300 is the number to call. 7360300 is the number to call. Get to talking about pets during the breaks here. And
I know, I always see these cute, well, some of them are sad headlines, but they always are happy stories.
Yeah,
you know, and then I'm like, oh.
And how our pets rule our household, and how our pets can get away with things that our children would never have dreamed. And how you just mentioned, because our kids never would have been able to have just peed on the floor.
No.
Get away with it.
But it's funny how they actually we've created these little routines with our pets, and now it's like normal. They've started it. They've actually trained us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
so
they get up and stand at the door. What do? We get up and let them out.
Yeah.
You know, they go and stand at the pantry door. What do? We get up and give them a cookie.
Yeah, Lizzie, you know, she liked, I don't even know how it started. She liked bancha tea in the morning. I'd have some bancha tea. I don't know how so I would put a little of her dry food and pour some tea in there, and she would wait the appropriate time knowing how cool it would be so she could drink it. I don't even know how this started, but she would have her tea in the morning. I'm like, what is up with that? Who said this was a cat?
I know.
I think it was a person in a fur body.
I hear you.
It's weird.
Well, we got a caller, 7360300. Top story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Listen, I live in Jerome, and I do a lot of volunteer work. And one of the things that I volunteer with is the food kitchen, we call it. And just the last time I served over there, we had about 210 people, most of them families, that we had the bulk of them were illegal. We knew that. But at some point, now, if those people were already here and we're feeding them, and let's assume we get a lot of these refugees coming in now, what do we do with them? How are you going to feed these people? Because we're running out of food now. I mean, it used to be we would give people additional food when they left if we had any. Now we're using every scrap, and we still don't have enough. So
I know that is a concern too, and that's actually kind of why I asked Greg Lanting that question this morning. Because yeah, you're right. When all of a sudden you have a few hundred people into and this area is not that big compared to like some of the larger cities and such. When they have a few hundred people coming in, or even 100 people coming into this area with nothing, would have quite an impact on the food kitchens, on where would they stay, even just water for 100 people, just something as simple as that. So and a lot of these towns are just turning them away at the
they're turning them away for other reasons. I mean, it's not because we can't afford. I mean, the stuff they're saying is pretty bad and hateful.
7360300. Top story, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
You know, this here, it's really sad, about these kids and stuff, but it also reminds me of people that get animals. Oh, I don't like this anymore, or I can't afford it, and then they get rid of it, and they dump them off somewhere for somebody else to take care of, and then they go out and get more. And if there be some kind of a birth control, I don't mean killing the babies and stuff like that, but if we could somehow get to these countries and help them not have quite so many kids, humanely, maybe they wouldn't be dropping them off so much.
I don't know
some
what the
people
answer
could have
is.
one child. They're worried about the security of their kids, whether they have one or two kids. I mean, what are you going to sterilize a country?
Well, I know that some of the ones coming over the border, and they even we mentioned it in the story. They got a kid hanging onto the leg and carrying another one. So
well, are you not supposed to have children if you live in another country? I mean, isn't that what life's about, to have children?
You see how complicated this thing gets?
Well, I mean, some people can say in our country, some people have 6, 8, 10, 12 kids. At what point do you stop?
And it's kind of like the point, hey, if you can't afford it, don't have any more.
Right, but people
and then you
don't
get
listen
into these
to that.
countries, well, they're too poor for that kind of stuff, so they just go ahead and have the kids.
Just
and they
go
get
ahead.
pregnant,
I mean,
and
that's what life's about.
Every 9 months and 15 minutes, But you do have to
That's
take personal
terrible.
responsibility for that. There comes a time when you think, you know what, we just can't afford it. We can't feed any more kids. So we're going to have to do something.
Oh, and in our country, they're actually trying to outlaw birth control. Go figure. I don't get that one at all. But you know what? People have children. That's what you do. And the fact that you live in a country that's corrupt and that you have gang drug warlords running your country, killing your children. This is how desperate these parents are, is for their kids to live. It's just terrible.
7360300. Top story, you're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. I don't think anybody's proposing to eliminate birth control in this country.
They are. They are.
Well, no, they aren't. Anyway,
look at some of the bills. They are. They are.
Okay, whatever. My point is,
outrageous.
The last caller was correct. These third world countries have buku kids because they are not educated about birth control and they don't have it available, or whatever the reason. I mean, even looking around Magic Valley, who has the most kids? It's usually the Hispanics. That I hate to say it, but maybe the last caller's right. We need to get some kind of deal going.
I don't know if it's so much the Hispanics. I have a few Mormon sister-in-laws who have 6 and 8 kids. That's a lot to me. I just don't think that's representative.
Anyway, it's time now for the Huckabee Report. You can hear the Huckabee Report each weekday at this time, brought to you exclusively by Waddell & Reed, Laura Nelson, Josh Funk, and Steve Stanger, financial advisors. 736-6563 is the number to call.
And I want to tell you about the UPS store. You need to go in there and rent a mailbox. Actually, I might have to now, too. But anyway, go to the UPS store, and if you have a home business with a without a retail location, if you're moving, if you're worried about the security of your mail, which I'm beginning to worry. We just had a package taken from our porch.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
That's not good. So anyway, tell them that Joe or Kelly sent you. You'll receive 1, 2, or 3 additional months free, but you must tell them that Joe or Kelly sent you. So while you're there, you can package, you can ship, you can laminate, you can copy. They're open on Saturdays, and there's no drop-off fees for prepaid packages or mail. So go to the corner of Blue Lakes and Addison, tell Charles and the crew Joe and Kelly sent you, and buy a cute little animal card. They're adorable.
There you go.
For any occasion.
Okay, so the last thing we want to leave you with is a little story here about something that will make your blood vessel pop, okay?
Maybe.
Put yourself in this guy's place. Justin Gray was flying home to D.C. from Orlando International Airport when a TSA agent asked to see Gray's passport because his D.C. driver's license wasn't a valid form of identification.
Some people are really taking to this. I don't like the government part. To a different level.
Gray works.
We don't recognize D.C.
That's right. Gray works as a reporter in Cox Media Group's Washington bureau. The TSA agent in Orlando never heard of the District of Columbia.
Oh, God.
Demanded passport because he didn't believe that his driver's license was from the United States. The station reports that Gray's license was up to date, but the agent didn't seem to know what the District of Columbia was. According to Gray's retweets, someone from TSA reached out to him on Twitter shortly after the situation took place, and Gray was able to make it through security and stopped to complain to a TSA supervisor about what happened. Late Tuesday, Gray tweeted that TSA was now showing every Orlando agent a photo of a D.C. license after the incident.
Maybe they thought, well, I've heard of Washington, D.C., but I had no idea it stood for District of Columbia.
Yeah, or that's
but they
where
probably get a lot of Colombians in from Miami, you know what I mean? Maybe they're like, wait, District of Columbia? I've only heard of Columbia.
I don't know. It's like
I would be beside myself.
It's like when they had the Olympics in Salt Lake City and people were calling from New Mexico to get their tickets to see the Olympics, and they weren't accepting them because, you have to be an American state. Apparently, New Mexico wasn't an American state, so they asked to talk to the supervisor, and the supervisor told them the same thing.
That is so embarrassing.
Oh, yeah. It is idiotic.
Welcome to the U.S.
Thanks for joining us today. Tomorrow we got the cops with the bad guys list. Do we have anything else on the list for tomorrow?
Well, let me check, Kelly Class. Actually, we don't. It might be open mind Thursday.
It'll be an open day tomorrow.
Unless we can come up with something.
So have a great day, and we'll see you then. Goodbye, Jill.
Bye, Cal.